Hi YouTube land, this is Stevie the Scotsman, hope you're doing okay. Happy New Year and all that fun stuff. So, I was faced with an issue here where I needed to replace a wheel bearing on a Mazda 626. Well, I'm actually in there doing the drive shaft and also the control arm. So, what I want to do here is just let you know what I ended up doing to make this happen. Now, there's other ways of doing it, I understand that completely, but I just wanted to let you know what made it happen for me. And you can take this video for what it's worth. Hopefully it'll give you some ideas. Now, it's going to cost you a lot of money to get a wheel bearing. If you take it to a shop, you get some numbnut on there who may do the job correctly, may do the job incorrectly. My whole MO is, why take the chance, do it yourself, do it properly. Now, I have to admit though, I did, like about 6 months ago or 9 months ago, I did buy a 20-ton press from Harbour Freight, you know, because in my opinion, it just makes your life a lot easier when doing this type of job. Okay, so you go there, you take off the knuckle assembly here from the control arm on the vehicle, and you need to press out this bearing. Now on a 626 you can see that there's, if I turn this around, there's a couple of pivot points here. What I ended up doing was I rigged up a jig, you know, so that I could actually just press it from the top, give myself some clearance, so that I can actually press out the hub. So invariably the situation was that this hub was in here and it was pressed out. I think I gave myself about 4 inches of clearance. So I basically built this thing less than 2 hours. Obviously I understand you need a Mig Welder, and I'll be honest guys, if you're serious about doing like work on vehicles, learn to weld, buy a Mig Welder. I guess you could use cold weld if you were so inclined, but what the approach I've taken is I've just pretty much used 1/2 inch threaded rod and 1/2 inch square tube. On the threaded rod I've just used you can see here I've just used a nut and a bolt, and then just welded a nut and then onto like some scrap plate here on one pivot point, and took the same approach on the other, making sure that it's level. Obviously on this pivot point here, what I ended up doing was I just welded the bar here to the base of the plate, so that when you apply pressure from here, this will actually take out the hub when you press down on here. The diameter of this press, 20-ton press from Harbour Freight, is awesome. You just press down on the inner race, which is the hub, and it will come right out. Okay, so that was problem number one. Sure, I built a rig. Some of you may be thinking it's overkill. You know what, it worked for me. I knew I was going to get the job done properly. There's other tools out there in ways to do it. For me, I have my welder, I have my press. This is how I made it happen. The one thing to consider as well is, like, when you get this hub off of here, the race is probably going to be on there. Now there's other guys out there, Eric the car guy and all that, and you'll see that they pretty much take the same approach as I've taken here, where you really need to get that inner race off of there. What I like to do, guys, I use a Dremel. There's people who go in there with an angle grinder. To me, that could get ugly really quickly. So I have this Dremel, and there's like probably like a little cut-off wheel with a radius. You can see where I just went in there. Just go really slowly and get down, you know, and then to the point where you can go in there with a cold chisel. I have my magic lube juice here. I use this for a lot of things, guys. This is like 50% acetone, 50% tranny fluid, ATF. I use this as to replace PB Blaster. I used it before I pressed out the bearing. I used it to, anytime I've got metal to metal and you want stuff to just happen, some love juice, this is what I use. And you'll see a lot of guys, if you YouTube, you'll see a lot of guys use it. I would advocate it. 50% tranny fluid, 50% acetone, just mix it up. You know, put it in a Windex bottle, you're good to go. Here in Wisconsin it gets Baltic, gets really cold in the winter. And all these things, PB, WD and all that, they all freeze up. This thing never fails. It works great. Anyway, that's how I've tackled the wheel bearing. As I said, some of you may perceive it as overkill. However, in my eyes, this is pretty much a cheap approach. I mean, this 20-ton press, I think with a discount, I want to say I pay like 140 bucks. The only other thing that I've used to get this job done is, now I'm in the process of taking out the outer bearing. I did go to Eastwood and I picked up this cheap and cheerful 10-piece bearing and seal driver kit. It was like 30 bucks. I mean, it's aluminum, but for the diameter of these for the race, it's going to do the job for me. So this is a 626 Mazda. if you're watching this video, you may have other cars, and this is really just to give you an idea. You know, for those who watch my other videos, I'm an aircraft engineer. You know, I fix my own cars because I just want to get the job done right. And I'm a little bit cynical, you know. I've had so many experiences where people are it's very hard to get a trusty mechanic. So I just do my own job. Sure, it takes time away from family and hobbies, but you know what? I enjoy it. So anyway, I hope this has given you some ideas. You know, if you've got any questions or whatever, man, just shoot something in the comments and I'll get back to you. As I keep stipulating, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat. And I'm hoping this is maybe giving you guys some ideas if you're in there. The only thing I want to note is, like, the one nightmare with this job is, like, when you take off the control arm, these nuts may spin inside, you know, the nuts actually that are attached to the frame. You may have to go in through the top, take off the carpet and take off the sheet metal and all that, and there's some nuts in there that are either, I think that they're either tack welded or, like, and they'll break loose, you know, so you're going to be in a world of hurt there. But once again, get an angle grinder in there, if you need to, you can weld the nut back on. I have another video out there, basically consider using a Mig Welder, and that time I was working on an exhaust. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but you know, it's going to cost you a lot of money getting bearings done and all of this type of work on a vehicle. Guys, just go learn to Mig Weld, pick up a welder, just save yourself a world of grief, then you won't have to rely on any muppets to do the job for you. So, you know what, my final thought is, I just want to let you know that I run a wee organisation called Helping the Humble, that pretty much helps people who are in a spot of bother locally, people who are not lazy. If this has helped you, send me a buck. Just go to Helping the Humble, donate, send me a buck. So I'm going to sign off now. If this has helped one person, then it's worth it, you know. If it's not been any use to you, I'm sorry, but I hope it may have given you some ideas. You know, if you're working on a 626, this is the way I tackled it. So hey, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.